I will just give you some assumptions first before I go to the numbers, okay? So our assumptions over here, which you need to also put in these assumptions when you write out your essay. Okay, so what assumptions do you have? You can see in my notes as well, in case you didn't download it. Okay, the assumption is that there are two countries. Okay, there are two countries. Of course, in the real life, there are no two countries. Okay, so you can see that if any of the assumption is loosened, okay, this theory doesn't hold anymore. The theory of CA doesn't hold anymore. Okay, so there are only two countries, A and B. Okay, then of course, we assume that there are only goods. Okay, which is our wheat and cloth. Okay, third one is that there's no barriers to trade. In other words, there's no protectionism. Protectionism example would be like tariffs on imports or quotas or subsidies to domestic producers. Barriers to trade is different from barriers to entry. Barriers to entry is the term we use for market structure. Barriers to trade basically means how easy is it for imports, okay, for imports to enter the country, possibly, okay, yeah. Then we also assume that there is no transport. Okay, there's no transport cost, and there is what we call perfect factor mobility. Okay, there's perfect factor mobility means to say, right, the factors of production can actually, go from one use to another use. There's no question about their skills, their knowledge. They are equally competent in producing good A. They're equally competent in producing wheat and cloth. Okay, there's no occupational immobility. There's no skills mismatch. Okay, no skills mismatch. That means, in other words, there's no such thing as structural unemployment. This itself is already unrealistic, isn't it, guys? You realize that? How can it be that factors of production are perfectly mobile? It's not possible. Okay, but in any case, these are the assumptions of the CA theory. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go into the numerical example. So, okay, so you guys don't need this slide anymore, right? Okay, so these are the assumptions, remember, you have to put in your essay. Okay, now I need to draw already. Okay, basically, maybe what I should do is this. Give me a minute, yeah. Because I need to do quite a bit of writing over here. So, to do quite a bit of writing, I think I had better use my new gadget, okay, to write it out so that you can see that it's like a meter. Okay, wait there. Okay, so hopefully with this, you all can see that my handwriting is neater. Okay, I guess it does help. Okay, now, okay. I'm going to put in the numbers now, okay? So, okay, this is my numerical example, yeah? So this is possibly country A. Okay, right, not too bad, yeah? Okay, now the next one is wheat. And this is cloth. Okay? Now, so what happens is this. I'm going to show you first thing first. Okay, what's the assumption? Okay, to begin with, right, the assumption also is that the country, okay, the countries A and B, they each have 2 units of resource. So 1 unit of resource goes towards the production of wheat. And the other 1 unit of resource goes towards the production of cloth. Okay, all right. So when you have 1 unit of resource for both countries used to produce wheat and cloth, let's just assume the figures that we have over here is country A can produce 15 units of wheat and country B can produce 10 units of cloth. Okay, then for country A, they can produce like with 1 unit of resource, they can produce 30 units of cloth, and they can produce 5 units of country B can produce 5 units of cloth. Okay, so the total world output will actually be 25 over here, okay, for wheat, and it will be 35 for cloth. Okay, all right. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to calculate the opportunity cost, okay, to tell us like according to the CA theory, which country should actually specialize in producing what good. Okay, so very simple. To calculate the opportunity cost, right, let's do it for country A first. Okay, for the production of wheat, what is the opportunity cost? Is that you take 30 cloth divided by 15 cloth. So I'll put in a bracket here. So that will give us 2. That means 1 week. To produce 1 week means we have to give up the production of 2 cloth because we take 30 divided by 15 to give us 2. Understand? Okay. Then how about for country A? What is the op cost of producing 1 unit of cloth? It is 15 divided by 30, which is half. Got it? Okay. Everyone okay so far? Okay. Now, then how about for country B? What is the opportunity cost for producing 1 unit of wheat? You take 5 divided by 10, which gives us 0.5. Okay, then how about for cloth? What's the op cost for country B in producing 1 unit of cloth? It is 10 divided by 5, which is 2 units. Okay, so now you need to look at the wheat column. For the wheat column, okay, which country has the lower opportunity cost in producing wheat? Okay, so that is where you choose the country with the lower opportunity cost. And because the numbers over here, like 2 versus 0.5, they are what we call the opportunity cost. So you will choose the lower figure. So in this case, country B is the one that has a CA. Okay, country B has a CA, has a comparative advantage in the production of wheat. Okay, understand? Then you look at the cloth column and you see which one is actually smaller, which value is smaller, which op cost is actually lower. So it will be for country A, where the op cost of producing 1 unit of cloth is 0.5 wheat. Okay, so we say that country A is said to have a CA, comparative advantage, in the production of cloth. Okay, got it? Okay. Now, the next thing is that we actually look at, the situation, okay, the situation with specialization. Okay, so let's look at the situation with specialization. So when we talk about specialization, okay, I will make a further assumption over here. Okay, what is my assumption? My assumption is that I'll say that country A, okay, what they'll do is that they allocate 1.5, okay, units of resources, okay, to produce cloth, okay, and 0.5 units of resources to produce wheat. Understand? And then my next assumption is that for country B, I will assume that they do a full specialization. Okay, a full specialization, okay, where 2 units of resources are used to produce wheat. Okay, then of course you may ask me, okay, why is there this assumption? Why is there this assumption that basically for country A, we do what we call partial specialization? Okay, a partial specialization, whereas for country B, we do a full specialization. Okay, the reason why I do that is because numerically, later I'm going to show you that what we want over here is for the world output for both goods to increase and not just the increase in output for one product. Okay, I'm going to show you now because currently, right, okay, let me just show you. Because currently, right, what you see over here is that we have like the total work output for wheat is 25. Then for cloth is 35. So right, with specialization, if I do a partial specialization, okay, for country A, and I do a full specialization for country B, I will basically be able to achieve an increase in the work output for both goods. Okay, I'm going to show you now. If you just show, right, with a numerical example that there's just going to be an increase in the output for one good, okay, then that will not be ideal. Okay, that will not be ideal. All right. Okay, why is that so? It's because with the CA theory, right, okay, when it encompasses specialization, it's supposed to lead to a more efficient allocation of resources, and this is manifested through the increase in world output. Okay, world output. All right. Now, so let's do a quick calculation to see what happens when there is this so-called full versus partial specialization. Okay, so let me just do a quick change of color. Okay, over here, right, when country A, okay, is going to do a partial specialization, let's do some working over here. So for country A, right, 1 unit of resource, they can actually produce 15 wheat. Correct or not? Okay, so now that they're going to use like how much? 0.5 units, okay, of resource to produce wheat. So what's going to happen? That means if they're down to 0.5 resource, then how many wheat can they produce? It'll be 15 divided by 2, right? Which is 7.5 wheat. Agree? Everyone's okay? Is that fine? Okay, right? Because if you look at the numbers, right? If let's say in the past, okay, currently before specialization, 1 unit of resource can produce 15 wheat. Okay, 1 unit of resource can produce 15 wheat for country A. So if let's say now I'm just going to allocate 0.5 units of resource to produce wheat, then surely, right, the amount of wheat that I can produce is only 7.5. So I just put here for ease of convenience, 7.5. Okay, so this is the situation after partial specialization. Okay, then for cloth, how about for cloth? So for cloth, right, if 1 unit of resource can produce how many cloth? 30 units of cloth, right? Okay, before specialization. Now what's going to happen? Now we have like 1.5 resource. Then how much cloth can it produce now? Anyone? Anyone, how many cloth can be produced now with 1.5 units of resources?
45.
How many? Okay, very good, Harpreet, 45. Okay, 45 units of cloth. So we write 45 over here. Got it? Okay, so this second column that I have is actually, you know, this is actually the situation after specialization but before trade. Now let's do the same thing for country B. So for country B, right, the assumption is that I'm going to do a full specialization. Okay, where 2 units of resource are basically going to use to be produced what? Wheat. Okay, so with that, right, okay, if let's say 1 unit of resource, it could produce 10 units of wheat. Now that we have 2 units of resource fully utilized to produce wheat, how much can we produce?
20.
Okay, very good, Harpreet, 20 wheat. The rest are okay, right? Are the rest okay?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, very good, Kirav, Ingzing, and Claire is also okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So here, right, do we still produce cloth for country B? No. Okay, 0. Okay, 0. So what's the total work output now? The total work output will be 27.5 because you take 7.5 plus 20. So it's 27.5. Then basically for country B, not country B, but rather for cloth, you have 45 plus 0, so that gives you 45. Understand? Okay, right, very good. Now, what happens is this. Okay, what happens is that now I'm going to put in the, what do you call it? Okay, we're going to put in the terms of trade. Okay, the terms of trade. Okay, but first thing first, yeah, what is terms of trade? Okay, terms of trade, right, you can think of it as the rate at which a country changes or exchanges its exports for another country's exports. That means the rate at which it changes its exports for its imports. Okay, yeah. So you can think of it as the rate of exchange, just like, you know, we talk about exchange rate is the rate at which a country's currency can be used to change for another country's currency. So in this case, terms of trade means like the rate at which one country can change its goods for another country's goods. Okay, yeah, because now we're talking about them producing according to their CA. So basically, they need to use what they have produced to change it for what the other country has produced. Right? This is called trading. Okay, this is called trading. Okay, now, how do we actually derive at the so-called terms of trade? Okay, let's do a very quick derivation over here, very simple. Okay, there are two ways to do it, but whichever way it is, right, it is the same. Okay, so when we talk about the weak column, okay, the weak column, basically how to get the terms of trade, okay, is this. I'll just put it over here. Okay, so the terms of trade, right, derivation of terms of trade. Okay, so if this is the weak column, okay, if this is the weak column, you will put here as 1 wheat. Okay, 1 wheat, and is to be traded in between. Okay, you look at the odd cost in between 0.5 cloth and 2 cloth. So you write here 0.5 cloth and 2 cloth. Got it? Okay. If you don't like this, okay, you can use the cloth column and you do the same thing. For the cloth column is, because this is the cloth column, so you put it as 1 cloth is to be traded in between the odd cost, which is 0.5 versus 2 wheat. Okay, and you realize that the figure-wise, it is actually the same. Okay, the same. And so an example, okay, an example of the possible terms of trade could be, say, 0.8 cloth is to 1 wheat. Or it can be 1 cloth is to 1 wheat. Or it can be 1.5 cloth is to 1 wheat. So on, so forth. Okay? So long as you do not choose a figure that's inclusive of 0.5 and 2, it is okay. All right? Then over here, what do you see? We can see an example, okay, of a terms of trade can be like, maybe say same thing, 0.8 wheat is to 1 cloth, or you can have like 1.2 wheat is to 1 cloth, or you can have, say, 1 wheat is to 1 cloth, so on, so forth. Okay? But you notice that whichever you use, okay, you can use either one, okay? But whichever you use, right, you find that, of course, you want to choose the terms of trade that will help to minimize the hassle, okay, of your calculation or of your workings. So you will choose 1 cloth is to 1 wheat. It's the same thing, even if you were to use the other one, okay, where 1 cloth is to be traded in between this 0.5 wheat or 2 wheat, you will still want to choose 1 wheat is to 1 cloth, right? Because this is the simplest, okay, simplest terms of trade to use, okay? Got it, everyone? Okay, so now that we have derived the terms of trade, okay, what we're going to do is that we are now going to assume the countries are going to trade, okay, trade with each other. Okay, so let's see the effects, okay, of their exchange. So now let us assume that we are going to put in here trade, after trade. Okay, and my assumption, okay, what's my assumption? My assumption is that the terms of trade, okay, TOT is 1 week is to 1 cloth. Okay, that's one of my assumption. And my assumption also is that A is gonna export 8 units of cloth. Okay, A is gonna export 8 units of cloth. So if let's say A is gonna export 8 units of cloth and the terms of trade is 1 week is to 1 cloth. So what does that mean? It basically means to say that in exporting 8 units of cloth, it should get back, okay, it should receive 8 units of wheat. Because the terms of trade is 1 is to 1. So that it translates to 8 is to 8. Understand? Everyone's fine? Very good. Okay. Now, so right, let's move on to this table here to show what is the effect after trade. Okay, after trade. So after trade, right, what we have is, okay, country A actually sold off 8 units of cloth, right? Okay, so 45, okay, was what they have, okay, is what they have after specialization, but before trade. So after they've traded off 8 units of cloth, we have to less off 8 units of cloth. And they in turn receive 8 units of wheat. So what they have over here is 15.5 units of wheat. And they have 37 units of cloth. Got it? Yeah? Okay, then it's the same thing, okay, that if country A is to export 8 units of cloth, they must have traded with country B, who receives 8 units of cloth from country A. Okay, make sense? Because they do an exchange of their goods. So if let's say country A were to lose or to give out 8 units of cloth, then similarly it translates to 8 units of cloth to country B. But as a result of that, right, country B will have lost 8 units of wheat and so left with 12. Understand? Everyone okay so far? Everyone's okay?
Yes.
Okay, very good, Kira. Okay, very good, Harpreet. Yingxing and Claire's okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
very good, very good. Now, so you can see this, let's do a computation also here. Okay, so I'll put one in red. So what is the situation after specialization and trade? The numbers in purple, right, will give you the situation after specialization and trade versus the blue one is your original, which is before specialization and trade. So 15 versus 15.5. For country A, there is a plus 0.5 gain in wheat. Okay, then of course for country B, there is a plus 2 gain in wheat. Okay, then for country A, okay, in terms of cloth, they gain by 7 units of cloth. And whereas for country B, for cloth, they gain by 3 units. Okay, 3 units, right? So you can see how is it that with specialization and trade according to the country's CA, okay, it has actually led to the countries, okay, the two countries over here, A and B, being better off. Why? It's because of the fact that both countries are actually able to consume, okay, more goods and services, more wheat and cloth compared to before they trade and before they specialize. And it has also led to a more efficient allocation of resources because there's an increase in world output to show that, oh, if countries were to specialize according to their CA, okay, according to their whoever has a lower opportunity cost, then it's going to lead to a more efficient allocation of resources where it will increase the world output for both goods. Okay, so this is how you actually illustrate using numerical example, okay, as to how, okay, how with specialization and trade according to the CA theory, it can actually lead to a more efficient allocation of resources, okay, and also increase in consumption, okay, beyond the PPC. All right. I will show you guys the what do you call it, graphical or diagrammatical illustration. Okay, how we can translate all these figures, right? In the form of a diagram during next week. Okay, sounds good, everyone. Any questions so far?
No.
No, all good, yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so with that, we'll end here for the day. Okay, we'll end here for the day, and then I will actually send you the audio so that you can actually do the revision on your own later if you want. All right. Okay, so see you guys. Okay, see you. Bye bye.